now, Plans for Good Health, brought to you exclusively by UnitedHealthcare.
Welcome back. Uncertainty around the COVID crisis is upsetting for anyone, and for children and teens especially, they may be having a harder time coping with what we call the new normal. Whether they're going back to school virtually or in person, there are some things that parents can do to make sure that their children feel better on the inside and on the outside. Here to discuss more in our new series called Plans for Good Health, please help me welcome Dr. Kevin Stevens with United Healthcare. Hello, my good sir.
Hey, glad to see you.
Glad to see you as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for talking about back to school for our special back to school show. We know there are a lot of things parents need to be doing, especially this year for back to school. What are some of the things you think parents need to do to prepare for this back to school season?
Well, this is really a stressful time for both the parents and the kids. In many respects, not just the virus and the risk of the virus, but also, as we know, so many people are asymptomatic and those kind of things. And the kids, they watch a lot of TV, and we are very much aware of what's going on in our community. So, the first thing we have to do is communicate. And communicate is just not giving, but it's also receiving. So we have to listen to our kids. We have to ask questions of them about what are they feeling, what are they thinking, and what's happening in their lives and those kind of things. And then they have to allow them to ask us also, what are we thinking, how are we feeling? And it's a bilateral process. So I think in this time of stress, one key thing is just connection, communicating on every which level. And I think that's very important.
It is very important because for me, when I was going to school, I always had stress in the middle of the school year. But because we're going through this pandemic and so much uncertainty, so many children are feeling that stress before we even start school. What are some of the signs of children experiencing stress that parents need to look out for?
So the first thing we need to do is avoid the stress by telling them that, if you wear your mask, if you wash your hands, if you stay 6 feet away, and if you allow your temperature to be taken and so forth, you have a fever, a cough or something, then let us know, and then we can treat and prevent a lot of transmission. It's a virus. You're not born with it. You catch it. So first expressing that to our children, we have to believe, say, it's contagious, but you don't have to catch it. And then once you get that, then you need to start to look at their behaviors, because many times kids don't come and say, Mom, you know what? I'm depressed. Or, Mom, you know what? I'm down in the dumps today. Sometimes they can, but most of the time they will withdraw. They will go into their rooms. They may have some type of symptom like a headache, a stomach ache, or something that is not obvious. I mean, you're thinking, why do you have a headache and those kind of things? Nausea, vomiting. Sometimes they can have a variety of even bedwetting and those kind of things. They can come with behavior, and they can be agitated and just very, very irritable. And so they can outwardly show what's going on the inside, which gives you the tip off. You need to start on the inside.
And I think it's important, like you mentioned at the beginning, communication and connection is key, because if you don't communicate with your children, then you're not going to see the signs of a headache. That's something that you can't see, visually. That's something that they have to tell you. So communicating with your kids are very important. Now, if we have the stress, if we see our children with the stress, what are some ways we can help them cope with it?
Well, there's so many ways. First is just talking with them to let them know that, this is gone worldwide pretty much, but there are things we can do. So you make sure you talk at the level they can understand that we will get through it. Give them hope, give them confidence. That's that, yes, we're going through tough times right now, but this is just in the interim. At some point, we will have some effective treatment, a vaccine or something to where we will conquer it. Mankind has always conquered these obstacles and diseases. So just conveying that to them, to say, this is just a little snippet in time. This is not forever. And then
I completely agree.
Then you follow example. I mean, kids, they watch you more than they listen to you, And so when you say you're social distancing and when you put your mask on and you take care to make sure that the mask is properly fitted, that is, you don't have gaps and that kind of thing, and you say so you can wash your hands and all those kind of things. And then you tell the kid, when you go out, you do those kind of things. They get to incorporate it into their
Yeah.
structure.
Communicating with your kids. I think that's what's so important. And you really gave some great tips. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Dr. Stevens. He is a gynecologist, everyone. A great one, I can already tell. If you want more information about how to prepare back to school, go to uhc.com. There's a ton of information on United Healthcare's website.